Hi, my name is Bridget Kimsey. I'm a yoga teacher, integrative healthcare provider, as well as author and scientist. And this is just a very short practice with the breath of just sort of understanding a little bit more. I know I talk about the breath and pranayama and just going over some basic mechanics as some have requested. So let's sit back on your mat. I'm gonna just hopefully be able so you can see me. Okay, so one thing I would say is wherever you're seated, whether you're in a chair or you're seated cross-legged, maybe taking the thumbs, if you can see, around where that the thigh bone is meeting into the hip, and just maybe pulling it down. You can also be sitting up on a block, a blanket, firm pillow. You can also pull the flesh away from the sits bones, making sure you feel really engaged there and settled. Depending on how you have your feet, sorry you can't see mine, you might flex your feet underneath of your calves or position your legs so that you're comfortable and that you feel like you can be tall and aligned. Getting alignment correct and working with the breathing really does help to optimize the flow and the energy and creating space for bringing energy and nourishment in and releasing stress and toxins out. Thinking of yourself seated, maybe tall column of light. You can feel maybe if you're forward or if you're back. Can you feel your sits bones? Just that nice lengthening, even as if you had a cord, a golden cord, top of the head pulling you up. Letting the shoulders and arms, like loose clothing, off the body. Why don't we start just with diaphragmatic belly breathing? One thing I've been working on is not just thinking of belly, ribs, chest, but really thinking also of the back, especially if as a woman you've had children or any type of abdominal issues, diastasis recti, anything like that. We're looking to really engage the whole system again. So it may not be helpful, but it does help me. So when you inhale, think of opening up front and back, lower belly, lower back, and then you're moving that inhale into the ribs, into the upper back, all the way up to the chest, and then exhale, it all contracts. And depending on where you're at, that pelvic floor draws in just a little bit. One way you can check this is one hand on the rib, one hand on the belly. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Just bringing the hands back. I'll move right into looking at breathing into the rib cage and just expanding rib cage breathing. Inhale. So you can hear for those in Ujjayi breathing, I'm going in there too. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Making sure to really complete that exhale. Good. I won't get into patterning with the breath, lengthening the inhale pause, exhaling pause, and sort of getting into, that's definitely an incredibly powerful practice in pranayama breathing, definitely worth checking into, that if you, depending on the equation and the ratio, you can really work with the body and issues that you might have pertaining to over-oxygenation or too much, I was going to say carbon monoxide, but it's carbon dioxide. Too much of one or the other, but getting that more balance can really help with overall wholeness and balance. I know for me that when I'm focusing on breathing and I'm really in my head and I'm having a hard time, I think it's actually coming from a Buddhist tradition. I'm not sure. For me, I kind of stumbled upon it, and it works well, which is I count 1, 1, 1, 1, and I count 1, 1, 1, exhale, and then I do that 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and then 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And lately I've been actually doing 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and then going back to 1. So and then after doing that for a while, practicing 5 or 10 minutes 2 times a day, shorter meditation sequences, I find that I don't maybe need the counting, and I just sort of slip into being able to follow the breath in and follow the breath out. So definitely finding, if you're working with the breath, what doesn't make you feel like you're being suffocated, that you're drowning? How do you gently work into it? Practices that I do now, I wouldn't have felt comfortable 20 years ago. And I imagine 20 years from now, there are practices that I'll feel a good fit with that just don't feel good now. So, I've gotten more into seated up, practicing my breathing. I also enjoy more restorative postures, laying on the ground as a way to practice my breathing and meditation. Okay. That being said, as you heard, I was starting to slip into Ujjayi breathing, which I've cued in other classes. But Ujjayi breathing is the sound of ocean waves. So I also heard a Darth Vader voice. It's warming. I also find it very cooling and soothing to the nervous system, although I know it's also heating. And if I have tension in one area, I can almost, like a stream of breath going in there to just really help it soften and relax. Let's try Ujjayi breathing. Okay. So if you imagine you're fogging up a mirror, constriction in the throat. Again, so imagine fogging up a mirror and closing the mouth. Finish your exhale. Depending on your practice, whole body engaged. Excellent, and letting that go, just a nice easy breath. One thing I've worked with is if I'm noticing I'm very tight in an area and I'm baffled I'm like, oh, there's tension. I do, as might be seen in the videos, carry tension along the right side of my body for various reasons. It's an ongoing work in progress. But I might, I know what my lungs, my conscious, subconscious, and unconscious body and subtle bodies all know the lungs. They know about the lungs. And if I imagine a second set of lungs right here, like really, I'm a visual person, maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but if I imagine a second set of lungs right on that area, and I just close my eyes and I imagine when I inhale, that those second set of lungs are filling with air. So I'm not pushing or moving muscle or fascia. I'm just inviting my body and being to experience um, another set of lungs that already knows the body and being. If you imagine something, the cells really buy into it. It doesn't always differentiate. I'm thinking of trauma sensitive work, doesn't always differentiate between what's maybe objectively happening and what is imagined happening. So we can use that and leverage that to our benefit in practices. Let me look at Anuloma Viloma, alternate nostril breathing. Wonderful, I find, for both left and right brain hemispheres and helping them to come together and even out. What can be interesting is if you are more left brain or more right brain activity, left brain controlling right side of body, right brain, left side body. Typically, it's loosely, there are variations there. Is you can feel how if you begin to even it out, does it bring you, does something open? Do things let go a little bit? The breath is very powerful. Again, if we think of the breath, the wind, the sand, moving along the desert and just moving the sand into places, the breath really is like that, and hence why I also think a lot of caution. I practiced initially, this way back in the day, with Kundalini yoga, and I really needed to stop. For me at that time, it wasn't the right thing for me. It was too much, and I can weave it in at times, but knowing yourself, listening to those cues. If a practice, something doesn't feel right, or you're looking for something different, there's so many wonderful ways inside of yoga and the lineages to find what you need today. And being involved with yoga, gosh, since I was 2 or 3 years old, and I'm 47 now. It's been a long time. Yeah, so it's exciting. So I encourage that if one breath technique doesn't work, if one style, or you sort of want to try something different, there's a patience that reminds me of being out in nature and the forest and the ocean, that has its own timing, and it really brings up a really strong self-reflection. And I think that can be done in a loving, caring way. Some people choose a path that's maybe whatever works for them, and I think that's great. Anyway, Anuloma Viloma. So here we go. So again, you're seated wherever you happen to be, your tall column of light, and we're gonna go ahead. I'm not gonna be mirroring you. I'm gonna have you take your right hand, first 2 fingers in, right thumb, right nostril. Exhale all the air out first. Inhale left. Close off left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close off right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close off. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close off right. And exhale left. Good, and just bringing the hand down. Good, bringing your hands to your heart. And namaste. The light within me bows to the light within you. Namaste. And thank you for joining me on this brief discussion on breath practices and a little bit on yoga. Again, if you have any questions, my name is Bridget Kimsey. Always feel free to be in touch, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.